Rookies matter in fantasy football, and we are going to tell you about some upcoming rookie running backs. Ooh. We got Rookie Radar on the show today for 2021. It's a great show. Love talking about the future. Let's get straight to it.
Welcome to the Fantasyland Football Podcast.
Hey, yo. All right.
What up?
Oh, my goodness, Badaki. Oh, my goodness. It is a beautiful day to be talking football with you. 2 days. 2 days after Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Did you do anything actually for Valentine's Day? We didn't even talk about this. Did you do anything with the missus?
A little bit. Like, we didn't do anything extravagant, you know. We didn't go out to like a fancy dinner or anything, but we did have a picnic at a park. And we ran some errands because we're having an engagement party and picked up some stuff. Nothing crazy. Just spend quality time, watched a movie.
I like that. I like a low-key little picnic. It's like low-key classy, a picnic. It used to be kind of like, oh, you don't have money. But now it's like, that's low-key classy. It's thoughtful, you know?
It wasn't successful just because, like, of course, the place that we chose at the park had all ants, and there was ants all over. So we picked up and moved, sat somewhere else, still all ants. So we were really at the park for like 15 minutes tops, and then came home.
I love it. Well, me and Karina, my wife, we went to Din Tai Fung, which is one of her favorite places to eat.
Oh, wow.
So hopefully, if you're listening out there, whether you're single, married, you're not old enough to date yet, whatever the case may be, hopefully you had a good Valentine's Day. Maybe you got to go on a date with that girl you've been looking at, that guy you've been looking at, regardless. Hopefully V-Day was looking out for you. 2021, great things ahead for this year. My God, I'm glad it's not 2020. 2021 is looking much, much better. All right. We got a good show. Let's talk about some news.
What is going on here?
What is going on in the National Football League? This is your need to know news. Badaki, a legend from the Houston Texans, J.J. Watt, has officially been released from the Houston Texans.
Yeah, he wanted out. He requested a trade from the a release from the Texans, and the Texans has honored that. They were just like, you know what, JJ shook his hand, said, congratulations, great job, thank you for doing everything you've done for our city and our organization, but get to stepping.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You know, I don't know if you saw that video. He's done a lot in Texas. You know, he donated. Remember when he donated $1 million when that hurricane hit? You know, he found his wife there. He has kids, family. He started. His brand is in Texas.
Yeah,
so
definitely. I mean, Houston was a massive part of his journey in his career, and I'm sure it's not the way either of them would have wanted it to end, but I think there is respect still on both sides, regardless of the rumors that we have heard. Good for him. He's going to have a chance to go to a different team. Zach Ertz has 1 year left on his deal, with the Eagles, but it's been pretty clear that he will not be an Eagle next year. Yeah. He will either be traded or cut. I think anytime a team announces that, it kind of takes the trade value away. But who are some teams that the Eagles have talked with about a potential trade for Zach Ertz?
Yeah, at the moment, what's been the team that has been in the talks have been the Seahawks and the Colts about potential trades. I think these are both interesting teams, especially the Colts. As Zach Ertz can go to the Colts and they can get a quarterback there, they are a ready contender team. They are already ready, you know?
Right.
Getting Zach Ertz, I think, would be a great piece. And with the Seahawks, of course, you know, you have amazing quarterback in Russell Wilson. You will have a lot of weapons around you. Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Chris Carson, if he does stay, or whoever they pick up in the draft or in free agency. But wherever, either of these two teams are great, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. There will be some hope for Zach Ertz. How relevant he will be in fantasy football, we don't really know that just yet.
Right.
definitely something that we'll talk about when we find out his new team. One of the most talked about wide receivers in the offseason is Allen Robinson, and it's been reported from his camp that he is open to anything. There's nothing that he is closing off at this point. I think that's wise for him because it probably brings your value up for a lot of teams to potentially fight over the rights to have you on their team. Right. It helps him get more money in his pocket. However, wouldn't you think that a guy like Allen Robinson, after spending this many years on the Bears, would maybe prioritize going to a team with a solidified quarterback? Or is it just about, let's get some money, let's see if we can get wins?
I think this is a smart move for him. One, because he doesn't want any bad beef with the Bears. Because if the Bears say, you know what, we're going to re-sign you to a 1-year deal, and that's the only offer that he has, he's not like, man, like I shouldn't have said those things earlier, you know? But
that's not going to happen. But yeah, I get it.
That's not going to happen. I think it's just so like he doesn't burn those bridges or burn that bridge with the Bears and say, you know what,
right,
I'm open to staying, pay me a lot of money, but just to let you know, I'm still open to being moved. So
yeah.
It's interesting. I think it will be interesting depending on if they stick with the Bears. If Carson Wentz goes to the Bears, that trade rumor that's been happening right now, if he goes with the Bears, it's who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows if Allen Robinson gets traded? It doesn't look like in my opinion, doesn't look like he's going to get traded.
Well, he wouldn't be able to be traded because he's a free agent.
I understand. It doesn't look like he's going to go to another team. Sorry.
You don't think he's going to go to another team?
I think the Bears are going to try everything in their power to keep him.
I feel like there's a higher chance that he goes to another team than there is that he stays with the Bears personally. I don't see him staying with the Bears. I think it's more just to save face and save the legacy.
Right.
I could be wrong.
I think the Bears would make a push for him. I think the Bears are making a push for him.
Of course, they should, because if he goes, then they have a big hole there. All right, the Dolphins have officially committed to Tua Tagovailoa, which means the Watson to Miami rumors are officially dead.
Right.
And Drew Lock, a second-year quarterback last year, going into his third year. Reports are the Broncos are not sold on Drew Lock. Another report came out that they had to, quote-unquote, dumb down the playbook for him. Is Drew Lock a guy that can be a starting quarterback in this league? Has he got that potential?
It's really hard to say. Generally, I really don't know. It doesn't look like he has the potential. It looks like he could be an amazing backup, an amazing guy that creates atmosphere. Because I don't know if you've seen those videos of him like just pumping to music, dancing on the sidelines. I think that's hilarious. I think that's what people like about Drew Lock. He's a character. But he's respectable. So,
yeah.
But if you got to dumb down a playbook for this player, your quarterback, the main guy, the key piece, and you have to dumb it down, it's not good. Doesn't look like he's going to go anywhere in his career. It's hard to say, but I don't think he's going to be a starting quarterback in the future.
Definitely could have a really great backup career. Not sure he's got the ability to be a starting quarterback. Would love to be wrong. But how does this affect their draft strategy, going into this year's draft? Because they have the 9th overall pick in the draft. Mm-hmm. Are they more aggressive? Do they move up and get one of the guys they really love? Or do they allow and kind of see what happens and allow a quarterback maybe to fall to them at 9, maybe a Trey Lance, someone in that sort of category? I don't know that Fields falls that far. However, there's been a lot of talk of him falling. Do you think they are more aggressive to trade up, or are they kind of just like, you know what, we got Drew Lock, let's sit back and see if one of the guys we like falls to us?
I think them making this statement, that they're not sold on Drew Lock, is them telling the league, these players, that, hey, we're shopping. Okay, we are here and we see you and we want to bring you in for interviews, and we're going to be interviewing people. I think the Broncos are going to move up and get a quarterback, in my opinion. Yeah. You're right. I don't think anyone can fall to the Broncos. 9 is a little bit too far for everyone. Who could they... I guess my question to you is, who could they trade? Who's that team that they're going to be trading up?
It's a good question, and I think this also doesn't rule them out of the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes either. I think they are a team that's been pretty heavily linked as well to Deshaun, so that's something to consider as well. With that 9th overall pick, they have some power. Obviously, they'd have to add more, but
the team that
I think the Falcons could be a good team. Falcons,
yes,
makes sense because they've committed to Matt Ryan.
That was what I was going to say. The Falcons, because they have committed to Matt Ryan. They're the 4th overall pick. They could move up, and there's a lot of people in talks. Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson. There's a lot of people that could fit in that Denver scheme. And you're right, Deshaun Watson. He is still in that talk and to be a quarterback for any of these teams. So. It's interesting. I'm really interested to see what's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of moves, a lot NFL type, NBA type season, which is starting to go that way.
I agree, and I think this is great news for fantasy, though. Let's be honest. For players like Noah Fant, Jerry Jeudy, whoever's the running back there, Melvin Gordon, maybe they draft someone. This is good news because you want a more competent quarterback back there. Jerry Jeudy was such a talent, and my goodness, his rookie year just felt like it was wasted. Poor coaching, poor choices. Let's get a guy in there who can actually make an impact. But look, there's going to be so many moves this offseason. As we've talked about, the easiest way to keep up with all things NFL and fantasy football and free agency and trades is to follow us on our social media accounts. And we've made one single link for you to find everything that we do. That link is solo.to/fantasylandfootball. Again, solo.to/fantasylandfootball. That will show you links to everything that we do, to our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube page where you can subscribe and hit the notification so you don't miss any of our videos. You can watch us talk about the podcast instead of just listen if you'd like. You can find ways to listen to the podcast, and you can also find ways to support the show through Patreon. We are in the process of making our Patreon page way better for the people who sign up to it.
That's right.
Give you more exclusive opportunities. We're going to offer more in the off season to hype you up and to get you ready for the season. It's your way to support us and also receive exclusives in return. So be on the look for that because we're pretty excited for it. But let's talk about some 2021 rookie radar running backs.
I'm a firm believer. Where you go is more important than when.
All right. So on the show today, we have 4 running backs that we are talking about from this year's rookie class. Again, last year. Who were the people we were talking about around this time? Clyde Edwards-Helaire out of LSU. We were talking about Jonathan Taylor. We were talking about Antonio Gibson. And Antonio Gibson was probably a guy that would have been on a show like this that wasn't known all that much just yet.
Yeah.
Then he had his pro day. He balled out, started to get on some people's radars. And this is the show where we're hopefully going to guide you. And who are those next running backs that you should be looking at in fantasy drafts and dynasty drafts? So the first running back we're going to talk about is Najee Harris out of Alabama. You know this name, Padaki, right? People know this guy by now.
Yeah, absolutely. Najee, I mean, what an extreme talent out of Alabama. We know what he can do. He's extremely talented. He's a massive guy. He's a crazy athletic guy. He has all the pieces of a big running back that you really want to have.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this guy, he's not Derrick Henry. Let's be very clear. He's not a Derrick Henry running back, but he is a big athletic guy who eats contact. He just loves the contact, and that is something that almost fuels him to keep going, whereas other people, it would knock them out.
Yeah.
He's like, no, give me that contact. And he's also an underrated pass catching back, which is something that we talked about when we talked about him previously on a podcast. But I can't stress that part enough. He is a very underrated pass catcher. Don't look at him as just a 2-down back. He can be a 3-down back in any offense. Now, does he have the top end speed? No, he doesn't. That is the biggest concern for most people scouting this guy. Obviously, the vision could improve as well. But let's talk about some potential landing spots for Najee Harris.
Okay.
I think there's 3 teams that we're going to talk about that he could potentially land with. And I love all of these scenarios. I genuinely feel like all of these scenarios for fantasy football would be absolute gold mines. The Steelers are first up. What's the thought process behind the Steelers being a potential fit?
Look, I think it's pretty simple. If you listen to our other podcasts, we kind of had a scenario with Najee going to the Steelers before. The whole thing revolves around James Conner no longer being the guy. Okay, he's not the guy for the Steelers. It's unlikely that they're going to give him a big contract, and we've seen it. He's injury prone. He can't stay healthy. So maybe the Steelers need to move on from James Conner and bring in another guy that's a little bit bigger, a little bit more, better pass catching back, and kind of include him into this offense. And I love the Steelers. Obviously, Juju's is a free agent right now, and they have all these concerns with their O-line. Mike, is it Pouncey? Is it Mike Pouncey? Yeah. Which twin is on? Which twin is this one? Mike Pouncey, yes, hey? Pouncey, yeah. So like retired. the O-line is no longer that main piece, and Mike Pouncey is not there, and Juju could be gone. I think Najee Harris would be a great guy to come in and just give him that good old Steeler, push, that steal like in the end zone type vibe, because I think it's a good fit. I generally do.
I agree. And I think the one thing that we talked about so much last year in the second half of the year, we said this before, but that running back room could not get the job done for the Steelers.
Yeah.
The Steelers, I promise you, Big Ben didn't want to throw the football 50 times a game. Obviously, he didn't throw it 50 times a game, but I promise you he did not want to throw it as many times as he did.
Yeah.
I'm sure that their hope and dream was to have a better running game to allow an older quarterback to be more of a manager rather than chucking the ball all over the place.
Yeah.
They had great pieces, so they were able to kind of combat that. But this gives the Steelers an opportunity to say, we have a solidified running back who can open up the holes, who can put less pressure on Big Ben, who can open up the play action. I love this fit. I think potentially my favorite fit, and this, in my opinion, would be Najee Harris's dream situation, his dream scenario.
Right.
Is to go to the San Francisco 49ers. Okay?
Tommy's going to love this one.
Now, Tommy, shout out to you, boy Bricks, 49ers fanatic. Also, I'm sure Tito would love this. Tito listens to the pod. Look, here's the deal. Everyone who's a 49ers fan or who knows the 49ers is automatically going to listen to that and say, well, what about Raheem Mostert? Right?
Right.
That's probably everyone's conversation piece in this argument.
Correct.
But let's be honest. Last year, we did see a quote-unquote breaking down of Raheem Morris. He wasn't able to stay healthy. Injuries plagued his entire year. And that definitely had a massive impact on this offense and its ability to execute the offense that it was intended to. Putting a guy like Najee with Raheem Mostert, I think Raheem and obviously Najee would split time, but I think this would be a dream scenario to be in this scheme, in this offense with Kyle Shanahan calling plays. They absolutely could make the best use of Najee Harris. And I guarantee you they're going to re-sign Trent Williams. They have a great offensive line. Mm-hmm. I just feel like this is a great fit for him. And I also think that in fantasy, this could be a really big money sign for me in drafts if he lands with the 49ers.
It's interesting. I'm really interested to see if how he would perform here. I think of all the injuries that happened in this 49ers backfield and how everyone was hurt and how they had running backs out the wazoo and everyone just kept coming. It was a different name and a different name and a different name. Yeah. And it's just like, bro, like how many running backs do they have, and
for real.
I wonder what's going to happen to everyone else, to the Jeff Wilsons, to the, Jamal Hasty's, you're right, Raheem. I'm interested to see what's going to happen. Obviously, I don't know the details of each and every one of those guys' contracts, but if those guys are still there, maybe it's not the best fit. Let's say Raheem and Jeff is still there. Hypothetically,
they will be there. They will be.
And like, what's the point of having a Najee Harris then? So
I know. I think my rebuttal to that, because it is a really great question.
Right.
But my rebuttal to that is a team that is so run oriented. The run should open up this entire offense.
Okay.
That's the way Kyle Shanahan likes to have it in his schemes. In a team that has running backs as such a crucial piece to it, let's say only Jeff Wilson goes down. Let's say only Raheem Mostert goes down. Let's say one of those two goes down. If you had drafted a guy like Najee Harris, my goodness, you're feeling in a much better place, because that running back position should be so valuable to you. Now, the flip coin of that is, well, Kyle Shanahan can make anyone relevant as a running back, right? But I still think when you have a chance to have an X factor like Najee Harris in your team at a position that makes such an impact for your team, it seems like a fit made in heaven.
Yeah.
The reason why it might not happen is because Najee might go before their second round pick.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm a little bit hesitant on this fit, but I like it. I like it for him.
Well, yeah. I wonder what the 49ers second round pick, like where that is. With that kind
I believe
of
they're picking 12th, so that would be the 12th pick in the second round as well.
49ers picks.
Let's double check that.
I kind of want to look that up and just see how many picks.
Yeah, they are picking 12th, which means in the second round they would have the 12th round pick, the 12th pick as well.
Yeah.
So
okay.
He could fall to that. I could see that happening, but as a fit, do you like this fit? Do you think it makes sense?
Yes and no. I see it. I see what you're selling it to me, but if it comes around and obviously Najee is not picked by the 49ers, I still think the 49ers backfield is talented. Raheem Mostert is still going to be a guy, I believe, if he wasn't injured, he was a top 5 running back in the year. He was having...
Nah, come on. Top 5?
You're right. No, top 5 is too much. You're right. He was definitely top 10 in my opinion. He was going crazy. He was breaking out. He was breaking out in the first 4 or 5 games until he got hurt. But look, I see what you're saying, and I also see the other side if I'm a 49ers fan and don't really think we should be trying to get another running back because we have so many. So I believe I see both sides generally.
Yeah, let me just throw one more thought out there to you. Mm-hmm. Guys, Raheem Mostert is 29 years old. Okay? Your body as a running back can only take so much. It is the most abused position in the game. That's why we don't see teams re-signing running backs to big contracts.
Yeah.
The average lifespan of a running back's career is 2.5 years. 2.5 years. Okay? This guy is 29 years old by the time the season starts. I think, and I assume, the Niners are thinking long-term about their running back room, considering how important it is to them.
Right.
That's the last thing I'll say. All right, who's the last fit for us?
Seattle Seahawks. Okay? And this is interesting as well. I know you really like this one, but I think this all is in contingency if they re-sign Chris Carson. Will they re-sign Chris Carson?
Yeah, exactly.
I think another big thing is that they have their cap, their salary cap. The Seahawks have under $5 million salary cap for the 2021 season coming up, and Najee can come in and can fill that. Really, if they don't re-sign Chris Carson, they don't really have to spend too much money on Najee. But it's really interesting because I like Chris Carson. Obviously, I'm an advocate for Chris Carson. He's still young. What is he, 26, 27? I think he's still a young guy. He has a lot of talent. He's just injury. He always gets injured.
I know. It's the injuries and it's the we don't sign this is the NFL. We don't sign older running backs to long-term contracts. Mm-hmm. Look at Todd Gurley. That did not work out. But in the moment when he signed that contract, he was the best running back in the NFL.
Right.
He was the best fantasy football player in the league. So that money made sense at the time, but it quickly caught up to the Rams and was a really big problem for their franchise.
Correct.
So I think more and more teams are looking, who could be that guy for us for 4 or 5 years? Who's that running back that can make a difference for 4 years for us? Mm-hmm. And I think this makes sense for the Seahawks. I think Chris Carson is a great running back. I love him. He's talented. But Najee Harris could absolutely do what Chris Carson is doing. 100%. And maybe he could do it better. Maybe he could have more of an impact for this team. Maybe it could take more pressure off of a Russell Wilson. So I like this fit. Those are our 3 fits for Najee Harris. Obviously, depending on where he lands, will determine his fantasy impact in year 1. But I think there's a name we're going to talk about next, which we're both pretty hyped on. Mm-hmm. Other than that person we're about to talk about, he is probably the number 2 pick in dynasty drafts overall this year. Correct?
Correct. I believe so. Yes.
Okay. I mean, I think we'll be talking about him similarly to how we talked about Jonathan Taylor last year before the drafts. I think his stock will rise depending on the team that he lands on. Is Correct. It a good offense? Is he the starter? Those are the kind of things that will absolutely determine his fantasy impact. But we are both pretty excited to see where he lands. Okay. You absolutely need to know this name. Get to know the name Javonte Williams, running back out of North Carolina. You and I have scouted him over the last couple days, and it's actually been my favorite thing to scout this guy so far in the offseason.
Yeah.
I think we both agree he is a future star in this league. I know you're hyped on him. I know I'm hyped on him. We're both kind of in over our heads on how much we love this guy going into the next year.
Yeah, look, this is probably extremely early to say. This is probably maybe something I shouldn't say, but I'm going to say I believe Javonte Williams is the best running back coming out of this draft. And I believe that he could have the most fantasy impact depending on the team that he goes to. Okay.
Wow.
So I truly believe he is a future star. He is going to be a star. Literally. He's literally going to be a star. And we can tell you all of his strengths.
X factor.
We can tell you all his weaknesses. I would really encourage you to look him up, watch his highlights, see what he does, and see who he is compared to in the NFL. But like Zach said, future star. He is a great features back. He is explosive in size. He has a speed. He can go to the next level. He can break tackles. He can extend plays. Great vision. He's a pass catching back, which is extremely key in the NFL. I mean, what more do you want out of a running back?
Yeah. A lot of reports of, as we were scouting, we obviously look at what other people have said in their opinions. Do we like it? Do we agree with it from what we've seen? Mm-hmm. And this Carolina backfield, North Carolina, has been quoted as to have been the most talented backfield in the nation. Here's what's scary, guys. Javonte Williams split time pretty much 50-50 with Michael Carter, who is another very talented running back who's coming into this draft out of North Carolina. They split the entire backfield in 2020. Javonte had just one more carry the entire year than Carter. And even with them splitting the backfield, Javonte Williams put up 22 total touchdowns.
Bro.
And he split time pretty much 50-50. This dude is an absolute production monster. I think we tried to find weaknesses in his game. And I think the only weakness we can really point at, and is really, if we really trying to find something, is that he does run so angry and so hard that could lead to injuries in his future. Maybe on his shoulders, maybe on his legs. Because he has such a passion and he runs with such a ferocity, that could lead to injuries potentially in his future. But you said it. I mean, explosive. This guy, seriously, go watch some film. He's got next level speed. He extends plays. Definitely my favorite prospect running back coming out of the draft. So that begs the question then, Badaki. Where are some good fits for him? Where would Javonte Williams land in the NFL draft? What are some good teams?
Look, first team that came to mind is the Atlanta Falcons. Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Hayden Hurst, Matt Ryan.
Wait, let's do this. Let's do this even better. Okay. The Falcons are on the clock, and they select
Javonte Williams, and everyone is cheering. The Atlanta Falcons fans is yes, finally we got a running back. It's been years. Todd Gurley is trash. Get him out. He got weak knees. He's weak at the knees. Javonte Williams is going to be could be selected by the Atlanta Falcons. Look, Todd Gurley is a free agent. He is the best running back, in my opinion, coming out of this draft.
Javonte.
Okay.
Javonte, not Todd Gurley.
Yes. He could be the best possible fit for the Atlanta Falcons. Like I said.
Yeah.
Watch his highlights. Then picture him in a Falcons jersey. Then picture Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Hayden Hurst, Matt Ryan, and then Javonte Williams in the backfield. You're going to be like, oh my goodness. Okay?
Yeah.
I believe he can open up this offense in so many ways. He is extremely talented. I love this fit for the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree. And a fantasy perspective, this is beautiful scenario. Beautiful scenario. I agree. I do think it opens up the offense. It allows Matt Ryan to have an effective play action, which is not something he's had for a long time. Really since Devonta Freeman was in his prime, a long time ago. It allows the defense to not only focus on these great wide receivers and shutting down Matt Ryan, you also have to worry about the run game now because Javonte Williams is that guy. He is that X factor. I agree. It opens up this offense in a big, big way. I love this fit. And for fantasy, this would be such a dream scenario.
wow.
This would absolutely propel this guy up fantasy draft boards, both for Dynasty and DFS.
Let me ask you a question. If he does go to the Falcons, where are you taking Williams? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, again, these are all hypotheticals, and I can't really give you an exact scenario because we don't know where everyone else is drafted. We don't know where free agents are going to land.
Yeah, you're right.
I do think we would be talking about him the same way we talked about Antonio Gibson, Jonathan Taylor last year. I think he would probably slip into the first 4 or 5 rounds.
Wow.
If people properly have researched him.
Right.
And seen the player that he is. And I think a lot of people have great options to listen to people about fantasy, and they will understand who Javonte Williams is.
Right.
I love the fit. Okay, next team though. And this is kind of just for fun because I think you and I looked at the list of teams who have a running back need, and I'll be honest with you, we could have listed every team that needed a guy like Javonte Williams.
Yes.
Okay? He is pretty much a mix of Najee Harris and Travis Etienne, which is a guy we're about to talk about. We've talked about in the past. He's not as small as Etienne. He's not as big as Harris, but he's almost got the best of both worlds. Let's read off some teams, right? Texans, Steelers, Seahawks, Packers, Jets, Dolphins, Cardinals, Bucks, Broncos, Bills, 49ers, Patriots. Every single one of these teams could be a good fit for Javonte Williams. However, we are going with the Bucks as our second fit. Why are we going with the Bucks, Badaki, as a potential second fit for him?
Yeah, look, if you all know Leonard Fournette only signed a 1-year deal, Ronald Jones, obviously he's in the backfield there. They won the Super Bowl, okay? Maybe they don't want to spend, or they know how vital the running back position is. With Leonard Fournette, he came in, he played a huge role. He played a massive role, okay?
Yeah.
And obviously Ronald Jones, he had a decent year. He had some injuries, but I believe this, Travis, I was going to say Travis Williams. I believe that Javonte Williams is going to come in and he can open up this offense. Tom Brady is going to make him an amazing running back.
Yeah.
Let's be honest here. Like he is going to excel to his full potential if he goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I think that's what we all like to see. We like somebody that is very talented to go somewhere that can really excel. I think everyone felt that way with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He already was an amazing talent. He went to the best team in the NFL.
Yeah, that didn't work out too well for fantasy.
No.
But you're right. I get it. Sometimes the best players make players around them better. And sometimes they don't. And I think Brady is probably the type that would.
Yeah.
Again, this guy could make impact on any team in fantasy. 100%. I think you and I both have him as our number one dynasty draft pick, right? For rookies. Mm-hmm. So for all the rookies in dynasty this year that are coming in, Javonte Williams is number one on our board, above Najee Harris and above Travis Etienne. Let's talk about Travis Etienne from Clemson, Badaki.
Yeah.
Who is he? We talked about him a little bit, but break it down for us.
Yeah, obviously, if you're listening, once again, you listen to the other podcast, we spoke about Travis briefly. Just to let you know, Travis is a great talent. He's a smaller back. He's extremely fast. He's small and versatile. He's a great pass-catching back as well. Just to let you know, he was also the ACC all-time leading rusher, which is a good little perk to know, a good little, accolade that he has on his resume. But I think Etienne struggles in that area just because of his size. Obviously, that's probably one of his biggest weaknesses. He's a smaller back, and he's also inconsistent in kind of reading the defensive schemes and the pass protection. You need that in an NFL running back. But he's still an amazing talent, okay?
Yeah.
I think that he can... Sorry, I just wanted to get my water. My mouth is really dry for some reason.
You're good. I agree, though. Travis Etienne is obviously a name that we talked about before. We're excited to see where he's going to land. You can listen to our previous podcast where we talk about him. But I am absolutely still hyped on Travis Etienne. I 100% think he still comes in and makes a fantasy impact year one, day one. Mm-hmm. I think he is an X-Factor type player. Some potential fits that we have talked about is the Falcons for many of the same reasons that we had for Javonte Williams. They need someone to open up that offense. He is a versatile back that can be installed into pretty much most offenses, right? This is a dream scenario for him.
Right.
I think the Jets is another fit. And the reason why the Jets are a fit is because they really don't have an X factor at all on this team. They need someone that they can feed the ball to, that they can game plan around for their offense. I think Etienne can be that guy. He can help see what you have in Sam Darnold. I think he has an impact there in fantasy as well. And the last pick, specifically if Kenyon Drake is not re-signed, the Cardinals, Badaki, could be a good fit.
Yeah, I believe Etienne can come in and, like you said, open up the offense. He can be lined up anywhere in that offense. He can help K1 and this offense really, in the passing game, because obviously it's just D-Hop really that I can really think of. Larry Fitzgerald retired. He can be used in the backfield and in the passing game. I like Etienne. He is now that everyone that's listening has all the top three, Najee, Williams, and Etienne. I want you to look at Travis Etienne. Okay, do your research. Watch some highlights. Watch Travis Etienne, Najee Harris, and the last guy we want you to watch is Javonte Williams, because we want you to see what we see. Like Zach said earlier, he's combined with the size and the speed of both of these guys. Size of Najee, speed of Etienne. That's why we really like Javonte Williams. But Etienne is a great back as well. We can both agree that he's our number 3 running back.
Yeah, I agree. Number 3 in rookie running backs, in rookie dynasty, excuse me. All right, last guy on the show. And this is a name that we haven't talked about yet on the podcast just yet. Kenneth Gainwell out of Memphis, excuse me. Kenneth did sit out for the 2020 season due to COVID to get ready for the draft. This is a kind of... He is an X factor, but he isn't a 3-down back, I don't think, in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's got good vision. He's elusive, great footwork. He can absolutely catch the ball out of the backfield or in the slot or wherever you line him up. Mm-hmm. He's got some sneaky power, I guess, strength for his size because he's not a massive guy. But that's also a weakness. He's not a massive guy. He can't really be that goal line back necessarily. He can't necessarily pass protect as well as other backs in the draft. However, I think he still can make an impact on most NFL teams. I think of a comparison, a J.D. McKissick, James White. I think he can absolutely play that sort of complementary back role in the NFL. And that role often comes with a lot of fantasy relevance.
Right.
J.D. McKissic. There's only one player that caught more passes than J.D. McKissic last year. That was Alvin Kamara, right? And I think Gainwell absolutely has the opportunity to be fantasy relevant. Year one, I don't know. But in Dynasty, I love the opportunity to hang on to him and see how he could develop in the team that he lands on. Same size and height as J.D. McKissic and James White, literally the same size and weight, which is blowing me off a little. It's blowing me away. But what are some potential landing spots for him?
Yeah, look, one of the teams that I was really interested in was the Miami Dolphins. And the reason I say that is because Myles Gaskin is dead. He can split the ball. He can split the backfield with Myles Gaskin. He can be used in the slot and moved really all over the field. And I think that, Gainwell can come in and, like you said, be that complimentary back to Myles Gaskin. Myles Gaskin doesn't really have anyone. Matt Breida behind him, barely. He can come
barely.
in. Barely. We need that as a soundbite, by the way. But I think he can come in and really make an impact with this team. This is a young team. Myles Gaskin, Tua. Devontae Parker's not really young, but Mike Gesicki and all these other guys coming in. And if he comes in early with Tua, they can really have a good mix, Yeah. So I'm interested to see him going here. I really like this. He can be the J.D. McKissic on the Miami Dolphins, and I really love that role. J.D. McKissic was a huge impact for fantasy. Joe, the guy who won our fantasy league, had J.D. McKissic on his team. Okay? Mm-hmm. Picked him off of waiver wires.
More teams are probably looking at J.D. McKissic and thinking, hey, we'd like a guy like that in our offense. Mm-hmm. Hey, here is Kenneth Gainwell. Pretty much, as a rookie, could fill that role. I love his talent. He's elusive. Some other teams that we have talked about are the Bills. Look, Zach Moss and Devin Singletary have not shown that they can really carry a backfield. They just haven't shown that, unfortunately. I'm not saying Gainwell can carry the backfield,
right?
But he could be a really nice complementary piece to one of those backs. You can line him up anywhere on the field. It's another weapon for Josh Allen and potentially my favorite fit for Gainwell. And we talked about this, and I argued at first that it wasn't, but you really sold me on this fit. That's the Green Bay Packers. And explain to me how this scenario would actually take place.
Right. So obviously both Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams are in free agency, correct? So we both understand that. So obviously A.J. Dillon is the guy here that's going to be, we assume he's going to take lead if they don't re-sign Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
A.J. Dillon would be playing the main role. And, Gainwell can come in and play that third down back like a J.D. McKissic, like a James White. Yeah. He can come in and be that pass-catching back that can really open up the field. And I think this could be a massive weapon for Aaron Rodgers because obviously Aaron Rodgers is MVP, NFL MVP. He's going to make him better. He's going to show the NFL that, look, this is Gainwell. Just to let you know, this is Kenneth Gainwell. We got him in the 6th round, quote unquote. Let's say he falls that far. Who knows? Like,
there's no way he falls that far, bro.
But just hypothetically, like you really pass it. Just like the New England Patriots. Yeah. This is Tom Brady. We took him 199.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, absolutely. He could 100% make Kenneth Gainwell a very fantasy relevant running back. I don't think any of these players get out of the 3rd round. Just so we're all on the same page. You feel the same way?
Yeah, I believe so as well. Okay. I think that these guys are all have extreme talent. I mean, once again, this is probably a little bit too much, but one of these guys can go in the 1st round. That's really rare, like you said. Obviously, Clyde went in the 1st. He was the last pick in the 1st round last year. But who knows? Maybe one of these teams really like these running backs and really thinks that they're an amazing talent. But look, I think that I believe that this is going to be a great year for running backs in this draft.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good talent here.
Yeah, I agree. And I think if we had to rank these guys, I think we're on the same page here. 1 to 4, most valuable in both redrafts and dynasties.
Mm-hmm.
I think Javonte Williams is 1, Najee Harris is 2, Travis Etienne's 3, and then Gainwell would be the 4th running back off the board for us. Is that correct?
That's correct. I think we just have to make sure that everyone understands this is all depends on where they land. I think the only person that we believe can really impact a team, no matter where he goes, is Javonte Williams. Other than that,
they will all have an impact. But I think what you're trying to say is, maybe a better way to say it is, will absolutely have an impact from day one fantasy relevance.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
That's what I believe. But yeah, I completely agree with you. All these guys are extremely talented. I'm extremely excited. Man, watch tape. Look, this gets us excited. You know, like we were scouting this for 2-3 days, and we were like, bro, just imagine them in the NFL on the field like these new guys. Just like when Jonathan Taylor came on, and with and J.K. Dobbins, he was a talk for a while, and DeAndre Swift and Antonio Gibson. We were all excited to see each and every one of them. We couldn't wait to see them on the field, and I feel like this now. And the season literally ended it's literally 2 weeks ago.
Christmas morning. It's Christmas morning all over again.
Yeah,
you get to start thinking about potential fits for these guys and what it will look like if Javonte Williams is on your fantasy team next year. Bro. You know, so. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed today's podcast. We really love talking about the draft, and I hope it's helpful for both people who are in, let's say, dynasty leagues and in redraft, because these are absolutely names that you are going to be hearing closer towards draft day.
Correct.
Right? These are names that are going to be relevant. That's the reason that we're talking about them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed?
No, I completely agree. I mean, we cannot express this enough of how vital these guys are going to be in fantasy, how they're going to impact the NFL. These guys could change the NFL. Just no one thought Patrick Mahomes was going to come in and change the NFL. Yeah. One of these guys could change the NFL. I'm extremely excited. We're both excited. We're excited to do little highlights and Instagram posts and TikToks and more videos on these guys because we're pumped.
100%. Anything you want to say to close the show, Badaki?
Huge love. I hope you had a great Valentine's Day. If you don't have Valentine's, then we're rooting for you for the next Valentine's. Patreon.com/FantasylandFam. We were working on this all day yesterday, and we want to tell you that we're extremely excited for Patreon once again. We're taking it to the next level.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way I can say it. Next level for Patreon. Next level for year 2. Fantasyland year 2. I want to put a 2 next to our logo, but maybe that's too corny.
I don't know. But yeah, definitely check out our Patreon if you would like to support us, if you would like to fund the dream. And don't miss our next show. We are talking rookie. Well, we talked about rookies today. Next show, we are talking about free agent frenzy running backs.
Oh, boy.
Who are those free agent running backs that could potentially fit with other teams instead of drafting someone maybe? Where's Aaron Jones going to go? What about Chris Carson? Is Todd Gurley still relevant? We're going to talk all about that on our next show. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you there.
See you there.
Hey, yeah, you, the one listening to this podcast. You made a good decision today. Keep making those good decisions. You know what? Go ahead and do a little dance right now, like no one's watching. 'Cause you deserve it.